Hola! Welcome to Green Spanish. This is the first episode where I will be talking about the preterite and the imperfect verb forms, or tenses. So to get started, we're going to do an overview of the definitions and how the two forms are different. So the preterite is a tense used for something that happened once and ended at a specific time in the past. So it's just one thing and it's complete. It's kind of in its own little bubble. The imperfect is a tense used for something that happened repeatedly, continually, or habitually in the past. So instead of just happening one time and being its own separate thing, it kind of happened a lot of times, or it took a while, or it had a duration, or you kind of used to do it. It used to be a habit. So just to really make it clear, the difference between these two things, these two forms, is that preterite actions are single and complete, while imperfect actions are multiple or were ongoing. Let's look at a few examples. So I have up here, compré galletas and compraba galletas. We're not going to be covering conjugation in this lesson, just how the two forms are used. So compré galletas is the preterite form, and compraba galletas is the imperfect form. Both in English could just be I bought cookies. So I'm going to be using blue for the preterite and orange for the imperfect. Let's look at when you might use these. So here I have 4 different ways you could end that sentence. If you say, I bought cookies for dessert tonight, do you think that would be the preterite or the imperfect? Is it something you did once? Is it something you did multiple times? Is it something that is kind of a complete action, or is it something that had duration? I want you to ask yourself those questions for these 4 ways the sentence could end up here, and then try to decide if each one is preterite or imperfect. In 5 seconds, I'm going to reveal the answers and discuss them. Alright, so if you say, I bought cookies for dessert tonight, you're not saying that you bought them multiple times, and you're not saying that buying them had a duration. It's just something you did once, and it's a complete task in the past. So that would be preterite. Also, if you said, I bought cookies last week, again, that's not something you did multiple times, and it's not something that had a duration. It's just more or less a chore you did. It's a task that you checked off your list. It's just one thing. It's preterite. If you say, I bought cookies all the time, then that's something you did multiple times, right? It's something you did a whole bunch, so that makes it imperfect. If you say, I bought cookies at school every day, then that's a habit. It's something that you used to do, more than once. So it is imperfect. Let's look at some examples. We have ella corrió en el parque and ella corría en el parque. Just like last time, on the left is preterite in blue, and on the right is imperfect in orange. I'm going to put up a few ways you could end this sentence. She ran in the park every afternoon, she ran in the park whenever it was sunny, etc. Try figuring out on your own if each of these would make it preterite or imperfect. Alright, so if you're saying she ran in the park every afternoon, then that's something she did multiple times, right? So that makes it imperfect. If you say she ran in the park during the marathon is just one event, and she ran in it, which means that her running was just one event. It's a complete action in the past, and so it is in the preterite. If you say she ran in the park whenever it was sunny, then that is a habit, right? It's been sunny more than once, and so she ran more than once, and so it's imperfect. If you say she ran in the park early this morning, then early this morning, that's a specific time, and so she ran in the park once at a certain time, that makes it preterite. Alright, here we have 2 sentences. One begins with the preterite, and one begins with the imperfect. In the translation, I leave comer in the infinitive, and that's because I want you to think, will it change to the preterite or will it change to the imperfect? Is it the same in both? Is it different? Try to think it through. All right. So if you say, I bought cookies and ate them with my lunch, in Spanish it would be, compré galletas y las comí con mi almuerzo. The reason that comí, the preterite, is used is because you bought cookies just once. It was one action, and so you ate them just once as well. It matches. If you say, I used to buy cookies and eat them with my lunch, in Spanish it would be, compraba galletas y las comía con mi almuerzo. The reason this is imperfect is because you used to buy cookies. It's a habitual action, right? And so you would eat them also habitually. It matches up. Now let's look at some more complex cases. If you say, they were reckless as teenagers, or I was great at baseball, you're saying something about a person. And the same would go if you were saying something about a thing. But these things, these kind of states, if you're describing something, then more often than not, you're not saying how something was for a certain specific moment once. It's more of a continuous state of being. And because of that, both of these would be the imperfect. You're stating something about something, you're describing it. If it's a description in the past, then you use the imperfect. All right. These two can be a little less intuitive, but if you say, it was 9 in the morning, or it was autumn, then you may think that you're talking about a specific time, but really, you're kind of describing or saying the state of being of time. And because of that, even if 9 in the morning is a specific moment, you're describing how time is as 9 in the morning. So it's the imperfect. This is a little weird. But just remember that telling the time, whether it's on a clock or on the calendar, wherever, telling the time is in the imperfect, if it's in the past. Now let's look at some sentences with multiple verbs. Lucy got bad grades until she began to sleep more, and I took off my apron while the muffins cooled. So in these two sentences, you have certain actions that are just one specific moment. Lucy beginning to sleep more, or taking off your apron. And then you have actions that are kind of happening in the background. Lucy got bad grades is habitual, and the muffins cooling is a continuous process. All right, so let's go one by one. Lucy got bad grades, which is imperfect because it's habitual, until she began to sleep more. So her beginning to sleep more, that beginning is in one specific moment, right? You can't be constantly beginning something. You can't begin something multiple times, really. So that part is in the preterite. So you have the imperfect and then the preterite. In the second sentence, I took off my apron, one specific action, right? You're not taking off your apron for a duration, you're not doing it multiple times. It's just one thing you did. So it's preterite. While the muffins cooled. So while you're doing that, the muffins are cooling. It's a continuous process, and so it's in the imperfect. 3 more. So if you say, he felt happy during the wedding, you knew me better than I did, or John could throw a frisbee very far in his glory days. You're describing a cognitive process or an ability, and again, this isn't super intuitive. It kind of comes down to it has to be one or the other, and the imperfect just makes a little more sense, especially to native speakers. It's just the custom to use the imperfect in these situations. So if you're feeling happy kind of for a time, right, during the wedding, then it's the imperfect. If you know somebody, then that's not one specific, action you take. It's kind of a process, right? Knowing somebody has duration, and so it's imperfect. Saying that John could throw a frisbee very far in his glory days, that ability to throw, he's not able to for just 1 second. Or, he's not able to for just a specific time. It's not one thing he does. It's something he is capable of. It's an ability. It's a continuous process. And so it's in the imperfect. So there is some ambiguity. You could say they were reckless. And would that be in the preterite? Or would it be in the imperfect? Well, it could go either way. It depends on how you finish the sentence, depends on the context. If you say they were reckless, talking about a prank they pulled last night, maybe, then that's one time they were reckless, right? But if you talk about, like before, how they were reckless as teenagers, then that has a duration. It's a continuous state of being, so it would be in the imperfect. If you say Lucy got bad grades, sorry if there's a Lucy watching this, I'm sure you're doing great. If Lucy got bad grades, it could be that she just took a bunch of exams, she didn't do too well, and that's one action she took. So that would be in the preterite. Or it could be that Lucy got bad grades, like before, until a certain time. It was kind of a continuous thing. It was a habit, her getting bad grades. So that would make it imperfect. So what is the point of all of this? Well, verb forms, they save time, and they add meaning. Maybe not for you, because it makes it harder to learn the language, but for the people who grow up speaking it, it's just more efficient, right? Instead of needing to add extra words, you just swap out some sounds at the end of the verb, and suddenly you're communicating something different. That means that you can communicate faster, and it means you can add more nuance with the same amount of speech. So to recap, preterite is something that happened once. Imperfect is something that happened multiple times. Preterite happened for just a moment. Imperfect happened for a while. It had duration. In deciding which one to use, context is the most important thing. And in all of this complex grammar, be patient. Learning Spanish isn't about getting everything right 100% of the time. It's about being able to communicate with people. You're not going to be able to connect to someone less just because you use the wrong verb form. They're probably going to understand you. But it's just easier to understand you if you know all the ins and outs of the language. So that's why we study it. Thank you for watching. Seriously, it means a lot. I wish you luck learning Spanish, and I hope you enjoy the process. Thank you.